A shocking video has now surfaced showing a migrant man in a wheelchair holding what appears to be a dead seagull. The man behind the camera asks him if he's planning to eat it, and the entire situation just highlights the grim reality of what everyday British citizens are being forced to live alongside. We'll dive into this story in today's video, but before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Right now, only 12% of viewers are subscribed, so join the community and help us grow. We've all heard the excuses before. Oh, they're vulnerable, they need support, they're here to contribute. But when you actually see scenes like this, you can't help but ask yourself, what kind of standards are we importing into our communities? This is Britain, not some lawless backstreet where anything goes. Yet our people are being made to accept behavior that is completely alien to our way of life. And to make it worse, this man is sitting in a wheelchair, likely claiming disability benefits, or PIP, funded by the hard-working British taxpayer. So not only are our communities disrupted by behavior like this, but we're also footing the bill for it. How is that fair? How can anyone look at this and still repeat the tired slogan that immigration enriches us? There is nothing enriching about this. It's degrading to our towns, our people, and our culture. The fact that ordinary people are now coming across scenes like this on British streets shows just how far things have slipped. Once again, it proves that mass immigration has lowered the standards in this country to levels we should never have to tolerate. Have a watch of this clip.
He's seen it all now, bruv. Seen it all now, bro. What the actual That's a bit bad, isn't it, mate? You're not going to eat that, are you? You're not going to eat it, are you? That's unbelievable.
At the end of the day, this is the reality of mass immigration in Britain. Ordinary people are being forced to live alongside scenes that simply wouldn't have happened a generation ago. A man in a wheelchair likely living off our welfare system, casually holding a dead seagull in public as if it's normal. And what do the authorities do? Nothing. They look the other way while the people paying the taxes are left disgusted and powerless. And the worst part? The political class still tries to convince us that this is somehow a benefit to our country. Well, it's not. It's a disgrace. British citizens deserve dignity, order, and safety in their own communities, not to be surrounded by this kind of behavior. In other news, Sir Keir Starmer has been dealt another damning blow as 8 petitions cast further doubt over his premiership. It comes as new polling revealed Sir Keir is the least popular Prime Minister on record, with a new satisfaction rating of -66. A Survation poll for Labour list also found that 53% of Labour members believe the party should have new leadership going into the next general election. Just 31% are currently backing Sir Keir's leadership, which has faced cabinet scandals, economic headwinds, and raging debates over free speech. The top 8 petitions on Parliament UK's website suggest the British public has had enough. In total, the petitions against Sir Keir have accumulated 5,301,346 signatures, and they only require 100,000 signatures to be debated in Parliament. Every single one of these petitions has crossed the threshold, with the lowest number of signatures on the petition to review possible penalties for social media posts, including the use of prisons, attracting over 189,000 signatories. Below, GB News analysed the 8 petitions threatening the Prime Minister's tenure. Dominating the news headlines over the past week has been the government's pledge to introduce digital ID cards, which has met fierce backlash across all sides of the political spectrum. Nigel Farage, Kemi Badenoch, Sir Ed Davey, and Jeremy Corbyn are among those pushing back against the policy. They join 2.4 million other people who have signed the petition, calling for the government to abandon plans around the scheme. Sir Keir has doubled down, branding digital ID an enormous opportunity for the UK, as it will make Britain's borders more secure. 2. Call an immediate general election. This is the second petition calling for a general election after the initial one surpassed a staggering 3 million signatures. The petition currently has over 966,000 signatures, prompting the government to issue the following statement. This government was elected on a mandate of change at the July 2024 general election. Our full focus is on fixing the foundations, rebuilding Britain, and restoring public confidence in government. Sir Keir said the next election will be an open fight between Labour and Reform, ruling out the Conservatives from competing. Reform is currently polling around 9% above Labour, and nearly double that of the Tories. Third, repeal the Online Safety Act. The Online Safety Act has proven to be another hot potato. Some 544,202 people have signed a petition to rescind the safeguarding measure, which is having either intended or unintended consequences, depending on who you ask. Sir Keir defended the Online Safety Act, saying, "We're not censoring anyone. We've got some measures which are there to protect children, in particular, from sites like suicide sites." Mr. Farage said Reform UK would repeal the Dystopian Act, saying, "Millions of people have noticed what they're getting on their feeds is different to what it was just last week. It begins to look as though state suppression of genuine free speech may be upon us already." 4. Introduce offshore detention/mass deportation for illegal migrants. Over 475,000 have signed a petition calling for the mass deportation of illegal migrants and the introduction of offshore detention facilities. Some 33,000 small boat migrants have crossed the channel so far this year, with nearly 60,000 since Labour took charge. The petition gathered steam as public fury over migrant hotels mounted. Over the weekend, 125 migrants arrived in the UK in a mega dinghy, marking the record number to cross the channel on a single boat. The government are yet to respond to the petition, but pressure is growing on Sir Keir to issue a response as the migrant crisis continues to spiral out of control. Baroness Louise Casey, who published a report into the grooming gangs case, said that the ethnicity of the people involved in the gangs has been shied away from by authorities. She said, "We found that the ethnicity of perpetrators is shied away from and is still not recorded for 2/3 of perpetrators, so we are unable to provide any accurate assessment from the nationally collected data." The government stated that it is already taking action to increase the collection and transparency of data on the demographic characteristics of individuals responsible for group-based child sexual exploitation. 5. Shut the migrant hotels down now and deport illegal migrants housed there. Spurred on by scenes seen across the country, particularly in the Bell Hotel in Epping, Essex, 255,536 people have signed a petition calling for the closure of migrant hotels and the deportation of illegal migrants housed there. As of August 2025, 32,059 asylum seekers are in hotels in the UK, an increase of 8% compared to 2024. Deputy Leader of Reform UK Richard Tice said councils are completely right to try to close hotels being used to house asylum seekers. The government said, "We are working as fast as possible to close asylum hotels and increase the removal of people with no right to be in the UK. But we inherited an asylum system in chaos and we cannot fix it overnight." 6. Protect Northern Ireland veterans from prosecutions. Sir Keir has been accused of betraying Northern Ireland veterans as he opened the door to the prosecutions of dozens of former soldiers. The Prime Minister and Attorney General Lord Hermer are prepared to abolish legislation protecting Troubles veterans. Shadow Justice Secretary Robert Jenrick said that the decision is a very significant wrong. Mr. Jenrick said, "It's a disgraceful state of affairs. You have veterans in their 70s and 80s who are now at risk of prosecution and worried about living out the last days of their lives in court for things that happened 50 years ago in a split second. Nearly 200,000 people have signed the petition calling for the government to protect the veterans. 7. Review possible penalties for social media posts, including the use of prison. Following last summer's riots and the sentencing of Lucy Connolly over an incendiary tweet relating to the riots, 189,000 people signed a petition calling for a review of possible penalties for social media posts. Speaking recently, Mrs. Connolly said she now wants to campaign for urgent reform of Britain's broken prison system. Mrs. Connolly was jailed for 31 months for tweeting, Mass deportations now set fire to all the facts and hotels full of the Petitions for all I care. While you're at it, take the treacherous government and politicians with them. I feel physically sick knowing what these families will now have to endure. If that makes me racist, so be it. Responding to the petition, the Ministry of Justice noted, "The government is committed to ensuring penalties are proportionate and uphold freedom of expression." What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.